So in today's video, I want to address a issue that I feel like LEGO Star Wars has had for the past couple years now, but I realized it even more so when I actually opened up and built the 2023 TIE Bomber, and that is the LEGO Star Wars Imperial Officer and Admiral Problem. Let's talk about it, guys. So welcome back everyone to another LEGO Star Wars video. In today's video I want to take a little bit of your time and go over a problem that I feel like LEGO has run into with their Imperial Officers and Admirals. And yeah, so we all know that we get a couple of these guys every few years or so. I think LEGO's been doing pretty good at actually giving us every single character we need. There's definitely quite a few that we need remakes of though, such as Thrawn. Even at this point, Grand Moff Tarkin. It's been 7 years since the last one. And yeah, so this one right here, quick little evolution of Imperial Officers. They first actually started back in 2002 with an officer back then, dark gray color and yellow skin tone, so one of the OGs. And you can't really fault it for that. Very nostalgic minifigure. The next kind of turning point for them is 05, when they switched actually to dark bluish gray, body parts and also flesh toned heads. And at that point, it was still basic print and just the basic no print on the cap. Moving into 2014 is kind of the next kind of era where they changed. They went from the kind of more regular prints to some more detailed prints. Definitely more detailed faces. Where they're adding mustaches and different types of smirks. They're not just using kind of the generic LEGO faces anymore. They're kind of making them actually unique to the character they're representing. And then also most of them have, the caps as well, with the printed Imperial logo. So 2014 was kind of the last big change for Imperial Officers. Now we're going into 2023 right now, and we just got one of them actually in the Imperial TIE Bomber with Rae Sloane. If you guys checked out my review, there was one big issue I had with her that I want to address in this video. Basically, going into 2023, we're basically stuck in the exact same kind of 2014 evolutionary area for the Imperial Officer. And what I think needs to change right here, guys, really quickly, I will say we need dual molded legs on every single officer and admiral that LEGO makes LEGO Star Wars related. Currently, right now, they come out with a lot of different color dual molded legs. They have a bunch for the city line, to represent bathing suits. They have some for CMFs all the time. But the most important ones that we'll be talking about in today's video, we have the dark bluish gray with black boots. We have the light bluish gray with black boots. Also the dark tan with black boots that don't actually fully exist yet. They have dark tan with the reddish brown boots and dark tan with black boots, but they have print over them. And what I'm pretty much saying is I think we need these legs on every single officer and admiral that they actually come out with, not just the UCS ones. If you guys have realized, back in the actual 2021 AT-AT, we have dual molded legs on General Veers. We actually have in the 2019 UCS Imperial Star Destroyer, they had dual molded legs on one of those guys. So of course, they're putting those legs, the more sought after legs, more detailed, more accurate legs, in the more expensive sets. But also, with the at least in the Star Destroyer, that minifigure also had arm printing. So I think basically how they can fix it already is dual molded legs are easy to include and they already exist. Pretty much they come out on other minifigures. They're not just on LEGO Star Wars minifigures. If anything, they're actually on more characters than Star Wars. Like they're representing city minifigures, Miles Morales from Marvel, a couple of Ninjago minifigures even. They actually originated back on Batman back in 2015. The white and black ones actually came on the sushi guy from Ninjago. So they're already on a whole bunch of different minifigures. And this kind of leads me into my next point. Basically, if you're talking about cost efficiency, which, we'll never truly know what it costs, LEGO to make a new print, a new mold. We'll never truly know, how long they need to actually produce that part to say, make it worth their time. But one thing I can say for sure is, in the more cheaper end sets, say $65 TIE Bomber, $70 Meditation Chamber, I would assume just using a dual molded leg that's already included in plenty of other minifigures currently on the market, and you guys can even include them in way more. You'll put them on another 5 or 6 minifigures that year, make those minifigures even better, is presumably probably a lot cheaper than an actual brand new printed leg, or printed arms for that case, in some of these minifigures, which at that point, save the printed arms for the UCS sets. I feel like that's kind of that little, maybe that line in the sand right there where dual molded legs should probably be on every single officer that's not in UCS. Save the printed stuff for the big UCS sets, if it actually does cost, say, way more to make a new print for a minifigure, say you want a little bit more exclusiveness, save those for the big UCS sets. That is understandable. I'm fully for having exclusive minifigures in big sets like that with a high price tag behind them. So basically at this point, why it makes 0 sense for LEGO not to include them. They came out right when they actually started switching to more detailed prints on the officers anyway. And I feel like, look, 8 years later and 7 years later since they actually made those legs, I think it's time to start finally fully implementing them and make that next kind of jump, for the officers in the LEGO Star Wars line until, say, 10 years down the line when I would assume by then we're probably going to have a lot more printed arms, a lot more printed legs, and I would assume at some point LEGO will get to the point where, there's a lot of print and just, massive detail on everything no matter what. I think we need that one last little boost right now because if you guys did watch my review of the TIE Bomber, you guys will know, and I'll show a little side-by-side picture. I was very disappointed in that Rae Sloane minifigure when I just kind of looked at it and realized I couldn't even tell this minifigure was from 2023. Aside for a new face print, which is probably the easiest of the bunch, literally just print a new generic face. It's just a female face, just a regular human head. It's just a basic little human facial, expression. A reused hair piece that's already been out for years. I believe the torso print, I believe, is new, but it might actually not even be new, since I know, Lego's, over the years has always messed up on the rankings on these minifigures. And then a plain pair of dark bluish gray legs. So, quite frankly, that looks like a minifigure that could have came out in 2015. Back in literally 8 years ago. Nothing about that minifigure screams as a 2023, brand new, exclusive to the TIE Bomber, brand new minifigure to go all crazy about. But of course, I think at that point, Lego knows, it's a new minifigure, people will need to buy it. The TIE Bomber's already a set that people will buy, so they're going to kind of lack in some areas of the set, which if you guys want to check out my full review, I kind of went over a few of those areas. But basically, and another big thing here, Lego is including these dual molded legs on other minifigures throughout the year already. So it's not like they're making a piece come out of the production line. It's not like a retired part. It's not like something they have to go back and get the molds for, or they're only able to use those on Star Wars. I mean, literally, I told you guys, they could easily just start making a lot more minifigures with the dual molded legs and then start putting them on the actual Imperial officers every single time. And I think, there's a fine line between some of these officers, some of these actual admirals, Grand Admiral Thrawn. I think when we get a new one of him, he needs white and black legs. I'll show another picture. It just makes the minifigure look fantastic. The only one I ever think that, Lego actually say, did the right thing with was director Krennic. They actually gave him all black pants because, in the movie, he basically wore, black pants, and he said there's white cape going down, but they already had a cape for him. So, basically, and if we want to get really technically just last year, Lego actually came out with the light bluish gray and black dual molded legs. They put them on the Raccoon in the Series 21 minifigure line, I believe. So that's just prime example. They're in the production line right now. They're currently being made. As I'm speaking right now, there's probably some going through a conveyor belt somewhere, over in Denmark or over in Mexico. So it's like, I just don't see how they can't just allocate those and reuse those on minifigures that could desperately need them, just to make those minifigures just a little bit better. You're just reallocating parts you're already using. You just made those other parts this year. And basically at this point, I want to go over really quick a quick little cost comparison versus one set that really surprised me, that being the Miles Morales mech from 2021, set number 76171, $9.99, 125 pieces. And I understand we're comparing Marvel to Star Wars. They both have licensing fees. Star Wars, of course, is probably way more. But I want to do a quick little comparison here, because that Miles Morales there, one minifigure in that set has the dark bluish gray and black dual molded legs, because there's been a big, a couple of people have kind of said to me, hey, look, it probably cost a whole bunch to put them in there, probably not worth it on some of these cheaper sets, $65. Although again, just one-to-one comparison, they put them on plenty of other superhero sets. They put them on Ninjago sets. They put them in CMF. So clearly, it's got to be somewhat profitable, for a smaller price tag. So for $65 here, if you're doing a one-to-one comparison on price and piece right here, technically the TIE Bomber could have had 812 pieces and then also 6.5 minifigures when comparing it to the Miles Morales, if you're kind of scaling it up. And you're telling me within that that kind of extra gap they have there, for the price tag, when comparing Marvel and Star Wars, you're telling me that's the licensing fee. Maybe it is, but at that point then, how much more is that dual molded leg there? Wherefore, no matter what license it is, you're making that part separately. Like Marvel doesn't get a cut of the dual molded leg you make for Miles Morales. Same with Star Wars. Like they're not going to get a cut of the leg you're making for General Veers. So in my opinion, it's just kind of a crazy one-to-one comparison where, and I wouldn't even really count that Gonk droid is a minifigure in the TIE Bomber. I mean, that thing literally is just, like 18 parts, nothing new there. They're just taking the exact same crate piece, the printed crate piece from the Imperial Marauder, bringing it over to 2023. So it's realistically just 3 minifigures. And like I said, Rae Sloane, very, very underwhelming the more I looked at her. Of course, like initial reaction was kind of like, wow, this is cool. I was the first one really like to ever see her in person. And it was really cool to me. But then the more I thought about it later that night, the next couple days, I just really look at her, I'm just like, wow, like this is a very generic minifigure. Then moving on to one last little thing right here I want to kind of leave with you guys, before you guys click off this video. Think about this though. Lego owns Bricklink now. Okay, and then say there's a lot of sellers for dual molded legs, me included. I've sold probably hundreds of dark bluish gray and black, white and black over the years, probably up to maybe 1,000 of each by now. And Bricklink, of course, has a fee over there. Lego, of course, gets that a part of that fee now. For actually owning them. Of course, Lego kind of oversees all the financial gain from Bricklink right now. And just a little conspiracy right here, just to kind of something to throw in your guys' head. Do you guys truthfully think that Lego is purposely cutting corners on some points? to actually encourage the aftermarket there that, now they own. And, Lego really could have never fully controlled it anyway, since understandably, they got to retire products, they got to make new molds, they got to, take other molds out, they got to stop making certain pieces, certain colors, certain prints. That's fine. I get that as a company. They can't be having, a million part, catalog every single year for the rest of, the next 100 years. So that's fine here. But do you think they're actually encouraging the aftermarket by doing some of these small little things where, say now, every time an Imperial Officer does come out, now there's another influx of maybe 500 more of those legs that sell just within like a day or two. The first couple days, people buy the set, they go on there and they buy a pair of legs for $3 each. They get maybe a 3 or 5% cut of that, and you're looking at, sure, maybe only a nickel a time, but every single part that goes through that, say, Lego kind of forces us to buy on our own terms. Do you actually think that's the case? I mean, I will kind of leave this with you guys too. I mean, they have been allowing that Mexico factory thing to be going on for plenty of years now, like actually 5 or 6 years, but it's been getting really, really bad the past like 2 years right now. And how many tens of thousands of dollars, if not hundreds of thousands of dollars, do you guys actually believe, if you guys are really versed in that and you really see some of these numbers and some of these figures that some of these USA sellers have all of a sudden from the Mexico factory, when you guys factor in, say 2,000 Heath Ledger Jokers, which, a couple sellers had that last year, say they're going for $35 each, which is what they were pretty much selling them for at that point. That is $70,000 worth of inventory that Lego did not have to pay a single employee out there for, since they're doing it after hours. Lego didn't have to pay the employees out there. Of course, they're eating up the production costs, but again, they're making these parts for pennies on pennies. So say an entire Heath Ledger Joker, even for a dime is out the door of production costs, that Lego kind of lost that material from backdoor smuggling. And, then at that point, those Mexico factory workers, they sell them to U.S. sellers for very, very cheap. They make profit for their time. And then, over here, that's literally $70,000 worth of revenue that is, say, going through Bricklink. And that's just one case. That's not including everything else that, it was selling on Bricklink like that. All these high quantity, these people that have 5,000 Grogu's, the 300, UCS printed leg C-3POs, especially. So actually just looking at that number really quick, guys, $70,000 just for one store worth of Heath Ledger Jokers at one time. That goes to show that they've probably every bit smuggled millions of dollars of stuff over the past couple of years. And to think about now, guys, Lego's getting about 3% of all that at the bare minimum, if not even more on the back end. So just something to kind of think about there, guys, something to kind of end this video off there with, is Lego kind of maybe purposely skimping out on stuff because they get that back end of the Bricklink, catalog. There's Lego actually stooping that low? I'm not too sure, but that's something for the comment section, guys. Leave your thoughts down below on this video. What do you guys think, the solution for this could be? Should we actually start seeing dual molded legs on all these officers? Is it something that you guys don't really care about? Definitely let me know down below, and big credit over to Firebird Bricks for actually the inspiration on this thumbnail. This is a topic I've actually been wanting to do for a little bit here, and ever since I got the Rae Sloane last week, it just kind of further proved I've got to talk about this right now. And of course, his videos are kind of blowing up over there. I asked for, full permission. I'm like, hey, look, can I just kind of reference, that thumbnail style and get a video out like this talking about Imperial officers? He said, heck yeah. And yeah, that's all for this video, guys. Thank you all so much for watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe. Stay tuned for you guys later. Bye, guys, and stay safe.